All right, update here on Apple. Let's just go over the whole thing. I'm going to go over why I'm still mega bullish on Apple. Mega bullish. And we are on the second of 5 of a diagonal. Or this is an A wave right here, and we're looking for a B wave retrace before a C wave down. If we look at the regular chart here, we've already retraced the 0.61 fib. Is it possible this is finished? It's possible, but I think that it makes more sense as a B wave, just based on the fact that of the structure of the move from the bottom here. But this right here took about 6 months. This part took about 6 months. This took about 8 months. So it looks to me like an ABC move. So I think that this is probably going to end up being a diagonal. That's my guess. I think there's upside here short term, for sure. But I think that this is going to end up being a diagonal. It doesn't really make that much sense as a 5-wave move. The structure of it, like nothing really makes that much sense. The 1.61 fib of this move right here on the log chart actually hits the very top. So it looks like an ABC move to me. I tried doing this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then 4, and then 5th wave like that. The problem with that is this 4th wave of a 3rd wave comes back into the 1st wave. You might be able to have diagonals in a 3rd wave, but it's very rare, and it usually means that it's wrong. So I think that this is definitely not the count. I think it's probably an ABC move. And then you get this ABC move right here from the top. A, B, C. That's the A wave, B, and then you get a big C wave down. And then we've been retracing. And one thing that sticks out to me is we are still at the bottom of this standard deviation. We are way below it, of course, and we haven't really gotten back into it yet. We've only retraced from that move. I guess we hit the 0.5 fib, so I can't say we haven't retraced, but it's just very unlikely to come down here and break this low from this shallow of being into the standard deviations, being at -2 on the weekly. Just very unlikely we come down here and break the low. So is it possible we come down a little bit lower and then go higher? Yeah, but this is the reason I'm mega bullish on this. Either the second wave already finished, you can see here we have plenty of room to go much higher, or the A wave finished and the B wave hasn't even retraced. The 0.78 fib is right around 238. So again, this is wave 5 right here, or it's 1 of 5. I think it's 1 of 5. And then this is either A or 2 of 5. If it's A, you're looking for something like that, and then we go up. I guess it could be the A wave, but this is the 5th wave too. Or this ends up being a 1st wave, 2nd wave, and we just go up here like that. So this is why I'm pretty bullish on Apple, and there's tons of gaps to fill to the upside. So now if we zoom in here on the smaller time frames, and you can see here, this is definitely an ABC move. ABC. And I have W ending right there, actually. We make one more high. If you look at the daily chart on this, RSI goes right along with it. So we come up here, we pull back, make a higher high on RSI right there. So I have that labeled as W. We pull back, we make a higher high on RSI, but a lower high on price. And then we come down here, hold the low on price, and make a lower low on RSI. So I'm looking at this like ABC, ABC, because now we have bullish divergence. W, X. And so if this is going to be WX, or I guess it could be AB as well, we're probably in the middle of a B wave here. This to me is pretty much, it's probably an ABC move. I have it labeled as 1 potentially, so we'll say 1 or subwave A. So I'm expecting a big move on Apple here to the upside. Pretty much hit the 1.61 fib here. So I'm going to label this 2 or B. And so I'd be looking for potentially the 1.61 fib of the A wave. And that takes us to 214. So this would be 3 or 3 or C. And then if it ends up being a WXY move, it's got to be this had to be an overall A wave. So I could put this as an A wave as well. So ABCA or 1, 2, 3. But I think at some point, based on what I see from here, WX and the length of this parallel line here, look where this goes to. It goes right to, I don't know if I did that right. It goes right to 238, and that's the last gap on the chart right there. So we'll see what happens here. I think it probably, if it ends up being an ABC move, let's see if it would get there. It's not going to get there if it only goes to 214. So I would say more than likely, this is going to end up being a first wave, second wave, third, fourth, fifth, up to 238. If I'm wrong, then maybe this just drags out longer. Maybe it ends up being A, B, and we come back down here like this. And then we go up. Right now, though, one thing that I notice also on the monthly chart, and by the way, this price action is really kind of tricky too. It's just like there isn't really anything that's obvious about it. The best thing I can do was the RSI showing that this is probably the end, this is probably the bottom right here at 193. And so we're probably going to at least 210 to 215 here soon. But then 238 as well. But on the monthly chart here, one thing that I notice is different than most stocks right now is you have bullish divergence. There hasn't even been a red candle since, or not a green candle since December. But you have bullish divergence right here. So look at this bottom right here at 165. We've already broken this low. And we didn't get that broken bottom until it actually bounced. So it bounced. We hit the bottom. We double bottomed right here on that low. We bounced, and now we came below it. And we're still much higher than this candle right here. That is bullish divergence. Let's go to the weekly and see if the weekly has any divergence. And the weekly doesn't really have anything. Although it did break below this and then hold this low here at 165. So really 165 is the level to hold right here. And that also goes for this being, no, it doesn't. I was going to say this being a second wave, but it does not. So 165, I want to see hold. And on the daily time frame, again, you have bullish divergence starting right here. So if I'm looking at this, I still think RSI needs to go up here all the way to 75. How is it going to get there? I don't know. We'll see what happens. This looks like it might have meant to be right here a 5-wave move. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's match that up with the price and see where we're at on June 6th. So June 6th right here. So yeah, this is probably, in my opinion, this is probably a diagonal. Because you can see here, momentum slowed right there. And you can see 5 waves. We had a truncated wave 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th wave doesn't make a new high. So I'm going to label this wave 1. I don't think that wave A makes that much sense. Let's just do wave 1. So basically, invalidation for this is going to be below 193.48. And I would expect 238. If we get a shorter move, though, it's possible. Let's see what the minimum would be. Minimum is probably going to be, I would say probably 220 would be a good minimum. So 220 could be a minimum. There's a gap up there. But again, the 0.78 retracement is up here at 238. So based on RSI, I have this as WX1, 2, and I'm expecting at least 214 on the next move up. And then pull back. So you're probably looking at 220 minimum, 238 max. So hopefully that all makes sense about why I'm still bullish on Apple and why I think that it's probably coming shortly. It's probably coming shortly. I think that you can't ignore the Middle East stuff going on, but I also think that that's going to be used as a way to push against the bears, basically. So get everybody bearish. There's World War III coming, and then use that to push everything higher against that sentiment. Because now everyone's going to be really cautious, and then stocks take off, and then all of a sudden people are chasing at the top. And then we get the real bear move after that. So that's my thoughts on Apple. This is probably a first and second wave invalidations below the May 23rd low. Minimum target is going to be 220. All right, that's it for this video. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe for more updates, and I'll catch you in the next video.